my pleasure to have Dr. K.S. James with us. Professor James is the Director of International Institute of Population Studies. I am very much delighted to have you aboard with Professor James, and he has a specialization in demography, population studies and development. A lot of publications are in his name. So let's have some talk about IIPS as an institute, the options and opportunities students can get after completion of course. So Dr. James, heartiest welcome.
Thank you.
I would like to first ask you, since you have been a director of this institute, what are the opportunities that students have? I have heard a lot about IIPS. So what options can a student get after starting from here?
Actually, this is an institute which trains students in demography and population studies, and we have also started now a new course on biostatistics and demography. So these are actually students who are exclusively specialized in these areas. So you can really come here when you have a students of social sciences or you are a student of statistics, mathematics and other disciplines. You can come here and be specialized in population studies and demography. So the major training which we provide here is really an quantitative skill as well as the theoretical aspects of population studies. That's why actually any students who comes out of this place will be really good in data analytics, and which is an emerging area right now. So that is the most important contribution of this institute as such, as well as they will be really good in theoretical understanding of social science as well as on the social theory. That is what actually these are the two orientation which we give to students. So in that way, actually most of the students really benefit from the course because they are really good in quantitative analysis, which is actually an emerging area right now because all the policies are really based on the informed decisions. Informed decisions comes from the quantitative data as well as the data, not only quantitative but even analysis of the qualitative data.
Right,
so
sir.
that is the purpose, major purpose of this.
Right, sir. The students, I believe these have been fruitful for jobs not only in the government industry but also across the private industries.
Absolutely. Actually, our students, I'm not very sure our students majorly go to the government. Actually, they go to academics in the sense that they go for teaching, they go for research institutions. That is one part of the story. But otherwise, our students are majorly going to the NGO sector, where actually the most of the intervention needs monitoring and evaluation, and good data really support their activities. So actually that data analytics, data analysis, and then giving inputs to them, how really proceed with all the interventions, how actually they have to really change or modify their intervention. All these are really done from the analysis of the available data from the intervention. So most of the students are really getting into the NGO sector, and of late I think there has been an increasing demand from the CSR, where actually most of the companies are having a CSR. So they also really need support data analysis for their own interventions, what's really happening. So I think that are the major areas where our students is contributing now.
Sir, so another question would be how do students get into masters here? Like the entrance examination, the process of getting for masters?
Yeah, we have 3 masters program. Actually 2 masters are directly undergraduate level, in the sense that you have to come after BA and BSc, which is on MA, MSc in population studies or demography, and then MSc in biostatistics, Master of Biostatistics and Demography. So, and there is also another master's which is very unique to this institute, which is a master's you have to obtain after having a master's. So it's a 1-year master's program which is called Master of Population Studies, MPS, which has been running this institute for several decades now, which is you have to have a background of a particular master's and then you specialize in population studies within your master's framework. So suppose you come from economics, you actually take a population studies master's within the economic framework of the population studies. Or if you are from geography, you specialize in.
So it's a kind of interdisciplinary.
It's sort of an exclusive interdisciplinary type of masters.
Right.
So these are, but all these masters admission is through an entrance test. It's a national level entrance test we conduct, which will be announced every year around November, December, and the test is normally conducted in January. So the selection process will start from February, March, and we complete our selection by March, April. That is what our schedule is.
So after the theory examination, is there any kind of interview for the students, or it's on the merit basis?
Not for the first two masters which I mentioned. For those who are coming from directly after undergraduate, they don't have any interview. But for the master's students, MPS program which comes after masters, which will have an interview as well. So they will have a test plus an interview, then we will select them. And we have an MPhil and PhD program which is also based on test as well as interview.
So, sir, another question was like, how do you think social science has been an upcoming branch for students, and what all future prospects can be seen not only in India but abroad with demography and population science as one of the subjects?
No, actually, demography is also evolving now in the sense that earlier the demography as a discipline in India really started with the concern of population growth, because there was rapid population growth, and it was felt that you need to really have a scientific study on population. That was the initial part of the demography discipline, developmental discipline, especially particularly in India. But those are really changing now. It's actually many of the states in India or even the country as such, the transition is very evident, and the population growth as a concern has completely changed. Now actually, but that doesn't mean that demography will stop. Actually, the concern has been shifted from now the fertility to the family. I think the major changes which is happening in India is now in the family sphere. Whether actually because of the elderly, whether it is because of the migration, because of the educated, there are a lot of considerable changes are happening. Our care system within the family, it's actually our exchanges between family. All these are undergoing rapid changes. If you really want to understand the society, really we want to have a complete knowledge about how actually the society is moving. And the demographic changes was sort of a central to all these changes which is happening in the country now. So that's why you can see even everyone is talking about a demographic dividend, a rapid increase in the youth population, which will also ultimately shift to a rapid increase in the elderly population, which will have a very significant impact on your family formation, your marriage, your postponement of birth, all aspects of your migration patterns and your job search. Everything will have ultimately rapid changes in society, which will actually redraw even the social science sphere in the country. So I think it's very important that we understand, we forecast this, we anticipate it, so that policies and programs should be able to look forward and to adhere to actually what is happening on the social science sphere.
Sir, thanks a lot. It was a great pleasure to have Dr. James with us. Looking forward to have a lot of students who are willing to pursue population studies, be part of IIPS and other institutes where demography and population science has been taught. Thanks a lot, Dr. James.
Thank you. Actually, the another thing, maybe in the world itself, IIPS may be a unique institute, where actually it's a deemed university exclusively concentrated on population studies. You don't usually get a university which is exclusively on one discipline. So that way, it's actually set up by the government of India as early as in 1956 and became a deemed university in 84. But it's that way, it has a unique place in India as well as in the world.
Definitely. I would like to have a coverage of the institute so that students could benefit from it, and definitely plan to join IIPS as soon as possible.
Thank you for coming over.
Thank you. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Sayyada. She has been in the institute since last 27 years. Her contribution to the Department of Mathematics and Statistics has been great for the center, and it's our great pleasure to have her here to have students get her insight about the subject and the options at IIPS. So welcome, ma'am. It was great to have you. So ma'am, my first question would be, how do you think students from IIPS actually benefit than other master's program across the country?
Okay. Basically, when you look at demography is multidisciplinary thing. You can think about its use in population policy and social sciences, biology and mathematical demography and statistics. So what we can do, people coming from social science discipline, for example geography or sociology, they will have specific knowledge about that discipline, whereas the people who are coming to demography, they have multidisciplinary knowledge, so they will be useful in not only for demography, but they can work in any other discipline. Most of our students, if you look at our past history, most of the students got job in developmental sector, ministry, education sector, as well as international organizations. Some of our colleagues are there in UN, USAID, Population Council, and World Health Organization. So looking at this, I feel our students have very good scope of job as well as knowledge opportunity.
So great, ma'am. As you said, students have options in India as well as abroad. What do you think, like, students should think about at the time he has completed his bachelor's, while he is applying for various universities? Picking out university, picking out a good career is indeed important for students. How do you think social sciences really has opportunities, because students nowadays feel that social sciences, what opportunities we would get besides teaching, besides academics? So as you mentored us, there have been a lot of scope in international organizations, but how do you actually is there any placement cell, or how do students get to know about that and student find placements there?
Okay. We have placements at IIPS, but for in general other
Yes.
outside students, what I suggest that now many disciplines have saturation point. For example, medical field, engineering field, their saturation level is there. But anybody who is coming to demography, population studies, there is no saturation, because this discipline is developed from the beginning of mankind. And people have talked about birth, death. It has been said that political arithmetics also, it is very much important that they should know about the population structure and all other things. So this discipline is alive and it will be there for till this world, or globally everywhere it can be used. And if you look at the current policies of different countries and all other things, they are now started talking about migration. Previously we were talking more about fertility, mortality, but now emphasis has changed, migration. So very good opportunity, because they are getting very good salary in comparison to other people.
I'm very glad to have Professor Nagarajan with us. He has been a part of IIPS since 2014, and since then he has been working with the students, guiding them, mentoring them for development studies. It's my pleasure to introduce Dr. Nagarajan with you. So happy to have you, sir, here. Sir, my first question would be, when students get into IIPS and when they exit after 2 years, what change they expect in their life, and how the job scenario becomes much more clear for them?
See, in IIPS training has two aspects. We train them in substantive aspects as well as in the quantitative aspects. So they understand the issues with the data in IIPS. So we make them in 2 years to understand the issues in the society, particularly health, education, nutrition, which all impacts our day-to-day life. So we make them understand the issues. We also make them to understand the data. So we introduce them to data, and they develop that capacity to analyze and interpret the data. So that is the skill they develop in IIPS. So they really understand the data, it's the quality issues related to the data, and how to analyze that and how to make inferences from that. That's what we, over the period of 2 years, they are transforming themselves into a real data analysis and interpreting that for the policy purposes. Most of the recruiters of IIPS students, most of the recruiters are from development sector. Those all these international agencies, national NGOs, and even the universities. They all recruit our students. But our students are spread in many of these the international agencies which are closely working with the government for the development in health, education, nutrition, and any of these areas.
So data plays a definitely an important role.
Yeah, because they really help them in analyzing the data and presenting to the policymakers. So in that way, they of course, that is one sector they work. Another sector is of course academics. Our students are in good demand in academics. By the time they complete it here, they master the data analysis, and they also go out with some publications that increases their profile. They have a good demand. So many universities, they, of course, in my view, nearly half of the students are in academics in various universities and institutions in the country. Yeah.
Great, sir. I'm very happy to have Dr. Sunil with us. He has been a part of IIPS since long, and he is presently pursuing his work on Nepali migrants and their problems in Mumbai. So it's great to have sir with us. Also, he has done his background is from social work. So, sir, how did you move from social work to population studies?
Yeah, I mean, both are social sciences,
Right.
and every social science has a relation with other social science. So that's the way. And there was, since I have the experience of working with the migrants, so that's the way I'm here. And I'm working in migration and urban studies. It is also a part of population science.
So, what do you would recommend for the students, like after pursuing their masters from here? What are the prospects, and why students should join with the population studies as a subject?
Population study as a subject, why people, because number one, they will get to know the more knowledge about the various aspects of demography. Apart from that, research is very important, so they will they can learn the various aspects of research, and demographic techniques and tools you can use not only in demography, but other than demography also they can use in other social science also. So it would be useful for them in other social science also. So that's why it would be better for the students to join population science.
Thanks a lot. Welcome. We are glad to have Dr. Harihar Sahu with us. He did his masters from IIPS and MPhil from Jawaharlal Nehru University. He has done a lot of contribution in the field of development studies. It's our pleasure to have him with us today. So, sir, how do you think students have an avenue of interdisciplinary approach with geography as a subject, and then moving on to population studies, how the things could be related and how interdisciplinary options could be availed?
Yeah, population science is specifically a interdisciplinary subject. So where students from geography, economics, statistics, mathematics, and several social science backgrounds, so they can opt for population science, and it has huge scope in future, because if you'll see, so earth is nothing without population. So anything in terms of fertility, in terms of mortality, in terms of migration, whenever we talk n number of things related to the population, then a basic knowledge of population science is important. So in that context, the opportunities for the future prospects of the students who are coming to the population science is bright. We have here 1 year master's degree in population science. So none of the Indian institutes which provide this degree. So this is the uniqueness of our institute. After completion of one master's degree, they can have here in 1 year they will have an additional master's degree. Those who have already completed geography or economics in their masters, they can come over here and opt for MPS degree, master in population science. They can opt here, and they have additional knowledge. Whatever they have parent subject is there, they will contribute to the population science.
Right, so that way they can have a much more bigger future prospect, I would say.
Yeah.
So besides this, what do you think could be the future aspects for the students after completing from IIPS or any other institute where population studies is offered?
Yeah, so those students who are coming to IIPS, the first and foremost thing, they are trained here the different computer applications related to the population projections, related to the different computer applications related to the mortality and fertility, and as a result of which, suppose a student from geography background, then they come over here. Nowadays we have a spatial demography, they do geospatial analysis, they do they are exposed to n number of softwares. So this is the beauty of the institute. Those who ever come here, they are technically trained. Not only they are substantive training on population science, but also technical aspects of the population studies they are covered. So after passing out from the institute, any recruiter, they interest you are from IIPS, that means you should have this basic understanding on this. So that is the way they expect from the IIPS students. about the technical analysis, about the quantitative analysis, technical knowledge, not only for the geography background students, but also economics, statistics, and other social science students. Those who come to IIPS, their training from the IIPS, their impact, their value in the technical understanding of the demography.
Right, so definitely that would be a very add-on point to their career. So that's very, very important to know, and definitely with such a lot of intensive training that they undergo here, they could turn out to be placed in very good institutes, not only in India but I believe abroad also. So as we have heard that students are part of organizations working with World Bank, UN. So definitely population data analytics counts a lot. So sir, it was great to have your insight about the subject, and I definitely believe students would benefit a lot from it. Thanks a lot.